Hey lovelies, welcome back to another speed build. It is time for a celebrity mansion on a 64 by 64 lot in Del Sol Valley. This mansion is huge. It has 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, a party room, a spa area, a home gym, indoor pool, just anything your Sims will need in a mansion like this. And I decided to start off with the landscaping, with the backyard basically. And the backyard is just huge. The house itself, as you may have seen in the beginning, has an L shape. And then in the back, the whole area is just landscaping, a really over-the-top luxurious garden. And it was just a lot of fun to work on this because I just tried to have a absolutely over-the-top crazy garden. What I did here was I arranged some doorways that are part of Realm of Magic to have the circular shape. I used the tool mod for this, but this build is still unmodded, so you don't need the mod. You can just grab it from the gallery, you can place it just like that, and you will still have the circular shape, for example. And then I used foundation pieces. I just love to do that. We cannot connect foundation pieces of different heights, but what we can do is we simply place them just like this and we leave a small gap, and then you just fill in the gap using the terrain tools. And this is what I did here. I wanted to have different levels for this garden or backyard, and I just combined different foundation pieces. I also used some terrain tools, and I just started at the very bottom basically. I just raised a small section of the terrain so I would have some space to build the circular area using the doorways. And then I just built the whole backyard and built just higher and higher, which is why the whole house sits on a super high foundation basically. I tried to hide the foundation a bit in the front by using the terrain tools, a couple of debug rocks, so it all looks nice and neat. In the back you can't really tell that there's a huge foundation because the backyard is basically hiding it. And then I had the idea to include a waterfall, and I've done this a million times probably, but usually I always used the Island Living waterfall, but this one here came with Discover University. There are 2 waterfalls in Discover University and 1 in Island Living. You can find all of them in the debug menu, so you have to activate the bb.show live edit objects cheat for this, and this waterfall is animated, so this is just truly beautiful. It looks like a proper waterfall. It wouldn't look real if it wouldn't be animated, so I'm really thankful for that. And then I just placed this waterfall in the center, and I wanted this to be the absolute eye catcher of this build. And I was super undecisive when it comes to the whole waterfall situation. As you will see at some point, I'm going to build a bridge over the waterfall, which was just an amazing feature. But then eventually I got rid of this bridge because I felt like the bridge was hiding the waterfall and you couldn't really tell that there is a waterfall. And as I said, I wanted this to be the eye catcher. And as I already said in my last video, you don't include a eye-catching feature just to hide it then. With some trees or a bridge, you want this to shine. This is why I removed the bridge eventually. And here at this point I included another round shape. I just used the Spade Stony Goodness slab. This is not a modern build or anything, so I didn't go crazy with the Spade Stony Goodness slab or the pristine pedestal that came with Get Famous. So I only used it in a couple of areas where I felt like I just have to include a small round shape, for example. So at this point I had laid out the shape of the landscaping at the very bottom, and then I built the bridge that I just mentioned, and I'm going to get rid of this. So later on I'm just going to remove the center section, and I just left a part of it on the side. You will see what I'm talking about later. And then I just expanded this more and more, and I had no idea what to do below the waterfall, and I just decided to raise the foundation underneath. You have to be careful with this. Sometimes when you add a foundation underneath or next to a waterfall and then you expand it, sometimes it moves the waterfall, so always make sure that this doesn't happen. Sometimes you don't notice at the beginning, and then later on you are like, where's my waterfall? And everything is kind of going wrong. And then I just placed a pool at the very top. So of course the waterfall technically has to start somewhere. This is not the most realistic build, I have to admit. So I just started to build the house right behind the waterfall. So I have no idea where this waterfall is even coming from, to be honest. But it looks nice and it's really fancy. And I mean, it's a game, it doesn't have to be super realistic at the end of the day. And then I included a round balcony, and I was just decorating a lot. I also used the tool mod to create a round window facade, and this was a bit tricky because for some reason, probably because of the pool below or maybe because of the waterfall, who knows, but for some reason I wasn't able to place some of the windows right at the edge of this round foundation shape. It was just, I don't know, you see how I struggle with this here, and I fixed this by simply building a room down below, and then it worked. I got rid of the room, and this was a bit confusing. I don't know, sometimes this happens. Also, as soon as you include these glass floors that came with add-on living, this sometimes happens and floors disappear. They are completely invisible. There are some weird glitches in this game. I didn't really have a specific inspiration for this build. I just had one idea in mind for this. I wanted to have this round shape at the very bottom, the round shape that I created using doorways. I just thought it would be so beautiful to have arches in this round shape. If you don't want to use any mods, or if you play on console maybe, what I can recommend for something like this would be the Get Famous arch. There is a arch that is just a regular object that came with Get Famous, and we can rotate objects freely, so you could always size this one down a bit maybe, and you could just arrange it in a shape like this. So if you want to recreate something like this but you don't own the tool mod, you don't want to use it, whatever, you can just use the Get Famous arch. I can totally recommend it. It's just amazing, and I'm just surprised now that I'm talking about it that I didn't even use it for this build, because I'm obsessed with this arch, and whenever I'm building a really luxurious mansion, at least at some point I usually include this arch, but I didn't here, at least not that I remember. So I can just recommend using this arch. So I just had the idea to have this round shape, and then I wanted to have a water feature, and then eventually I developed the idea to have a waterfall. And from this point I just developed the build, just step by step. I developed my ideas while I was building, which is what I usually do. And then sometimes this can be tricky though, because when I have a vision for a backyard just for landscaping, sometimes I finish a backyard and then I have no idea what house to build. But here was kind of natural, because I thought, okay, it would be fun to just use the tool mod once again to have this round window facade, and then it all came together. I kind of knew into which direction I would be going with this build, and then I just expanded the build. It got bigger and bigger. And at some point I decided to include lots of pink flowers, and it totally gave off some Barbie vibes. I don't know, as a kid I was obsessed with Barbie. It was like one of my most favorite toys, but I think my absolute favorite was Polly Pocket. I don't know if some of you may remember Polly Pocket, the original, now vintage Polly Pocket that was a thing in the 80s and 90s. It was just amazing, and I was a 90s kid and I was just obsessed with Polly Pocket. And I think nowadays, or maybe a couple of years ago, I don't even know, I just saw this on TV at some point. I think that they increased the size of the little dolls, and I thought, okay, this is not Polly Pocket. Like, the whole idea was to just put it in your pocket, literally, and you could just take it with you somewhere to play. And then they just kind of changed the whole concept. But I'm still just so obsessed with this. I mean, I don't own any Polly Pocket, but just like thinking of this, just thinking back to my childhood, and I once just googled the vintage Polly Pocket thingies, and I just took a look and I thought, oh my god, I had these. Just so many fond memories, and Barbie was also just so amazing. I love Barbie, and I got some vintage one from my mom's aunt. It was just amazing, because I just had these really regular Barbies, like these. They were all blonde back in the day. Most of the time there wasn't a lot of diversity going on, and they all had the same face, and just having these vintage Barbies. And there were also some that had like brown hair. It was just a bit different, and because I don't know, like in the 90s our Barbies kind of looked the same. Like now it's different, I know, which is just so amazing, but back then times were a bit different, sadly. But these vintage Barbies, which were like, I think even from the 60s or something, they for some reason had like brown hair and were just a bit different, and they didn't all look the same. And I remember just having these, and I was really excited about this. And nowadays, times are totally different. Like from what I've seen on TV and some ads, there's just like so much amazing diversity when it comes to Barbies and toys. And I just love the representation. And I know that a lot of kids will just enjoy this and they just feel represented. And it's just amazing. So I'm really glad that times have changed. But I don't know, when you just compare some stuff, even toys, like to the 80s, 90s, to just nowadays, it's just crazy how much progress there is truly. Let me know in the comments down below, what were your favorite toys when you were a kid? I'm just super curious about this, and this house just took me back to my Barbie's dream house, and I just had to think of this. So here you can see how I used a sized up version of the Realm of Magic doorway. It's the exact same doorway that I used for the round area that I started the build off with. So I just sized it up, and I really like to do this. I also placed one below this round window facade. So you can just size doorways up, and then you can decorate your house. Just make sure that you don't place it right on a wall, or you are going to have a hole at the very bottom, like the hole where your original doorway was supposed to be. This looks weird, so I just like to use it in place of a wall. So I just decorate my house with it, and this is what I did here. And what I really like about this house is the way I arranged the windows. Like I just used small rooms that almost look like columns. You can see this, and also on the left side, and just think that the facade, even though it's quite simple, turned out to be really interesting at the same time. I also included some round areas, like some round foundation piece with a fence, and then I deleted the floor, and I was struggling with this so bad. This has happened ever since some random patch came out. Like when you build a round foundation like this and you just build a fence and then you use the sledgehammer tool to get rid of the floor, it's just supposed to be deleted and the fence is supposed to stay. So you just have some type of trellis or anything just for decorative purposes, and for some reason at some point, as soon as you just delete the floor, it deletes the whole thing, including the fence. So I just had to fix it, and to be honest, I can't even explain how I fixed this. Just like I built the same thing at the bottom, then I used the sledgehammer tool and got rid of the floor, and it suddenly magically worked. So maybe it did work because I placed the thing on the ground and deleted the floor there. So maybe this is kind of the workaround. I don't even know. This is how it worked for me. So I'd recommend you just place it on the ground, on the lawn basically, build your round foundation, build your fence, delete the floor, and then pick it up and place it wherever you want to use it. I don't know if I fixed it this way, it just randomly worked, and sometimes the glitches in this game are mysterious and you just have to fix it somehow. And I don't know, this is just what I would recommend to do if this happens to you. Also, let's talk about the new pack now. It's confirmed, it's official. The next Sims 4 expansion pack is going to be the Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle. And I'm hyped. I know a lot of people aren't hyped, but if you aren't hyped, that's totally okay. I totally respect that. But there was a new bit of information yesterday. Maybe it just kind of changes your mind a little bit in case you are not hyped. It was confirmed that the pollution is going to affect every single world, and you can turn it off. So if you don't like that, you can simply turn it off in the game settings, but it's going to affect every single world. And why is this so important? Because it's an expansion pack, and an expansion pack is always a big deal, and most of the time it's supposed to affect the whole gameplay. For season, for example, we got weather, and weather is obviously affecting every single world. Cats and dogs, we got cats and dogs. Finally, we got some pets that were roaming around each world. And now with this expansion pack, this just gives me the feel that it's like a legit expansion pack, because many people were saying, okay, this should be a game pack, maybe not an expansion pack, but the fact that it's affecting every single world is just great, and this is just, it has a lot of potential, I guess. And also there's going to be some type of community garden feature, and you can also use this community garden feature in every single world. So all the functions that are going to be introduced with this pack are going to be translated to every single world, and I think the community garden idea is just amazing. So you really have like the feel of a solid, proper neighborhood, because I feel sometimes, I mean, there's the welcome wagon and some trashy fruit cake, but this doesn't really feel like a proper neighborhood. But community gardens and just working together with your neighbors could maybe introduce the feeling of really proper neighborhoods and just working together with your neighbors and meeting them. This could be amazing. I'm not about gameplay, I'm all about building. I'm really excited about the new objects that I spotted in the trailer, really excited for the windows, and there are going to be a lot of eco lifestyle builds on this channel as soon as the pack drops. And in case you are new here, this is how I go about the whole thing when a new pack drops. As soon as a new pack drops, I get it as soon as it's available. I download it right away, and it's probably going to be a midnight release. For most expansion packs, or probably every expansion pack so far, it was a midnight release. So what I do is I just wait until midnight, and as soon as it's midnight, I download the pack. I pull an all-nighter and I just build and I try to have a build ready for you guys as soon as possible. So this is how I like to do it, and it's probably going to be the same. So I try to be really quick and I just start building right away, and this is like always super intense, and I just can't wait until it's midnight whenever a pack drops. And I don't even know, like, I don't know, from what I've seen in the trailer, when I look at the world, that don't seem to be huge lots. I could be wrong, but this is kind of an ongoing theme when we think of Discover University and all that. There aren't really big lots, and I have a feeling that this is going to be the same situation kind of, which bumps me out. I want a big lot, or at least like 150 by 50 lot. I don't know, maybe 40 by 40, but it doesn't look this way. It looks like a tiny living kind of situation, but I'm not sure. If this should be the case, I'm going to build a couple of proper eco-living homes in Green Harbor. This is what the new world is going to be called. But I might also just build something in Willow Creek, for example, using the new objects. So we have one modern, big, solid eco-living mansion on a 50 by 50 lot, for example. You guys know that I'm all about huge mansions, and most of the time when a pack was out, some of you were waiting for a huge build with the new objects on my channel, and I definitely want to create a huge eco-living mansion. Like, I have so many ideas in my head. I've created a eco-living mansion at some point last year, I think exactly 1 year ago almost, and I just love the whole theme and the idea. And back then, of course, it wasn't a proper eco-living mansion because, I mean, there was no such pack, no functions, no solar panels, no, just nothing. So I just tried to recreate the style, the layout of a mansion like this, but I'm really hyped to build something like this, like a proper eco-living mansion. I love modern architecture, and I have like a really specific style in my head when I think of eco-living, and like a really huge, lavish, modern mansion, but still eco, which like sounds like a contradiction, and it may be, but just think of a huge mansion, but you definitely make it work, and it's like self-sustainable. You have a big garden in the back, and you have the solar panels, and oh my god, I just can't wait to build this. I don't know, maybe you're not interested in this pack, but like, let me tell you, building wise, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure it's going to be fun. New options, new styles, new stuff to build for, maybe a couple of fun tricks. I'm just hyped for this, and we still have to wait a whole month almost, and I'm just waiting for this pack to drop, to be honest. And as I said, if you are not interested in this pack, if you are not hyped, I totally respect that, not a problem. I still hope that my builds are going to be fun for you, even if you don't get the pack. I just try to create some beautiful builds using the new pack, and just as I always do. And I know that there was kind of a controversy going around this pack, probably because of the fake leak of Country Living, so people were expecting a farming pack, and a farming pack is kind of one of the most requested packs at the moment, just like everyone was rooting for University before it came out, and this is kind of the same now, but for a farming pack. So I totally understand that people were disappointed, and then eco-living is such a unique and out of the ordinary theme, I guess. It's never been done before this way in another Sims game, so it's like a really interesting theme for a whole expansion pack, not just a stuff pack, not just a game pack, but a whole expansion pack. But let me tell you, as I said, it's going to be fun when it comes to building, so even if you don't enjoy the pack, I hope that you just enjoy the stuff that can be created with this pack. So we will see what's going to happen. Also, one last thing I want to say about this. don't forget that we haven't really seen that much. Like when the trailer came out, a lot of people were saying that this isn't worthy of an expansion pack because it's just one world. And yesterday we got the new bit of information that the pollution is going to affect every single world, as I said. Then it can also be turned off. So, I mean, it would be annoying if you would be forced to just deal with the pollution, and you may just want to play a completely different storyline gameplay wise. So I think it's good that it can be disabled. However, we haven't seen much yet, and there will be some live streams, so I think we should all just wait until we judge, and we will see if there are maybe some surprises. We will see. I think that there could be some interesting things in this pack, and I'm just curious and excited. But back to the build. So for the interior, I was going for a really pink kind of interior, and you may have noticed this, like when I was starting to work on the kitchen, I used some pink wallpaper that is part of Get Famous, and I think even a pink floor. I thought, okay, Barbie's dream house. Like, as I mentioned earlier, I just kind of got that vibe at some point, and then I thought, oh no, this just looks horrible, and it changed the floor color and the wallpaper, and then it kind of transitioned into a super modern interior almost. So the interior is a bit different from the exterior, but I figured this would be okay because, I mean, it's like a really luxurious, over-the-top celebrity mansion, and the interior is definitely luxurious and worthy of a celebrity mansion. So I think it's kind of okay to have a contrast. Usually I always try to stay within the same style and theme when it comes to exterior and interior, but in this case, I don't know, it just happened. I just couldn't find a way to build a proper beautiful pink interior. I did this once actually, I think, and it also was a bit bottom, but he had then just completely stayed away from the pink. I mean, at the end of the day, the only pink features on the outside are the flowers, so I thought, okay, this might be a bad idea. This isn't working out for me, so I just kind of ditched that idea, and I just built a really modern interior. As I said, this house has 7 bedrooms, and the whole layout is just, I don't know, the floor plan is kind of crazy, but at the same time it's quite traditional, I guess. So the whole house has an L shape, as I said earlier, and I tried to locate all bedrooms in one area. So as you can see here, they are all next to each other. So when you want to send your Sims to bed, when you just try to manage all your Sims, then all the bedrooms are right next to each other. They are en suites, as you can see here, so they all have a bathroom, so each bedroom just has kind of their own bathroom. The only exceptions are the 2 kids' rooms. So I just kind of tried to make it really manageable, because with mansions like this, it can be really tricky to just manage your Sims and to just kind of make sure they all go to work and to bed, and that they get up and take a shower and all that. So I really wanted this to be really manageable. And then the other area of the house, the other side of the L basically, is just the indoor pool, the party area, the home gym. I'm about to work on this, you will see this in a second. So I just kind of try to divide the house into different sections so it's really manageable. And this here is one of the kids' rooms. These are kind of on the smaller side, and what I did was I simply included one bathroom in between them, so they don't have their own bathroom. As I said, the kids' rooms aren't en suites, but I figured it would make sense to just locate one bathroom in between them. And here at this point, I forgot to put a shower or a bathtub, but don't worry. If you notice stuff like this in the finished upload to the gallery, it should be fixed. Like sometimes, I don't know, like before uploading, I always take a look at all the different rooms, and sometimes you just, I don't know, forget to put a fridge into the kitchen or a bin. I don't know, I'm really good at forgetting the fridge or the bin. I think I got better with this actually, but in the beginning when I started to build and upload to the gallery, I sometimes forgot this. Like, I don't know, this sometimes just happens, and once, I've mentioned this before, I finished a whole floor, like at the very bottom, like kitchen, dining room, living room, open floor plan, and everything was just, it was just done. It looked great. And then I just worked on the next floor. I uploaded the build to the gallery, and then I noticed that there aren't any stairs. So I just had to fix this and re-upload it to the gallery, and it was like really hard to include the stairs at this point because it was like all finished. Like there wasn't any space for stairs, so I had to kind of rearrange stuff and disrupt the whole floor plan. It was a nightmare. So ever since this happened, I always make sure that there are stairs. I don't know, but this was like think this was when Island Living came out. I was really confused. So this here is the party room. I wanted this to look like a really exclusive, dark lounge, or like some type of speakeasy almost, like really glamorous and mysterious, dark colors and all that. And there's also a home gym and just lots of stuff for your Sims to enjoy. And if you want to use this build for your Sims, I hope that your Sims and you will enjoy it. You can find it in the gallery. It's CC free and unmodded, and my ID is KateEmerald. You can find all the information down below in the description box, and here you can see some screenshots, because this is it. This video is coming to an end. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!